Okay, so have you ever, like, opened up TikTok and just, bam, everyone's suddenly doing the same exact
Oh,
thing?
yeah, definitely. It's like the whole world just decides to collectively.
Right. And that is exactly what we're diving into today.
Awesome.
So we got our hands on these notes, right?
Hmm.
And it's almost like a blueprint for a potential podcast idea called, get this, pasted text.
Pasted text.
I
Interesting.
know, right? And it's all about TikTok trends. You know, the challenges, the life hacks, all those viral moments that kind of take over your feed.
Yeah, those are definitely attention grabbers.
Totally. But, and here's the thing, our deep dive today isn't about just listing out the trends, right? We want
Yeah.
to go deeper. We want to figure out what this potential podcast, this pasted text, reveals about us. You know, like how we consume and react to these trends in this crazy digital age we live in.
I'm in. I think what's really interesting here is that this blueprint, it's not just about entertainment, is it? It's almost like a little window into like what actually grabs our attention online, like a study of how we think.
Exactly. And the first thing that just jumped out at me when I was looking at this blueprint were the structure. It's so specific. They have like trending videos roundup, then a personal reaction section, and get this, even a section for audience reaction.
Oh, wow.
I know. So it got me thinking, does this sound familiar? Like a lot of the podcasts we listen to, the really popular ones, they kind of follow a similar format.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, think about it. Shows like, say, Reply All, even The Daily. They're breaking things down, right? It's all about bite-sized information, really engaging chunks.
Right.
And it totally makes sense, doesn't it? I mean, it's how we consume information these days. Short attention spans.
Yeah.
Everyone wants that instant connection, that instant feedback loop.
It's so true. It's like pasted text is building in that engagement right from the start.
Yeah, it's baked right in.
Okay, so then they get into the actual content itself.
Hmm.
And I mean, it's pretty standard TikTok stuff, you know.
Hmm.
They're talking about covering challenges, humor, those life hacks everyone's trying.
Hmm.
But it made me wonder, like, WHY, these particular niches, you know, what do you think it says about what we as viewers are actually looking for out there in this digital world? What do you think?
I think it's a really good question. I think when you zoom out and look at the bigger picture, I think it really speaks to some of our like core psychological drivers, like take novelty, for example. Humans, we're hardwired to crave new experiences. Like our brains light up when we encounter something new.
Right.
I mean, that's literally the dopamine rush, right?
Right.
Which, if you think about it, is probably why we get so hooked on that For You page.
Oh my gosh, yes. It's like we're constantly chasing that like next hit of something fresh, something we haven't seen before.
Exactly.
It's true. I totally get sucked into that. Okay, so then pasted text, it throws in this whole other idea. I wasn't sure what to make of it at first. It's this guest feature,
Yeah.
like bringing in someone else outside the main host to talk about the trends with them. What do you think? Is this like genius, or is it just adding even more voices to a space that's already so loud and crowded?
Well, you have to think about the power of collaboration in the online world, right? Think about all those YouTubers doing collabs or TikTokers constantly duetting each other.
Yeah, that's true.
And I think it's smart. Guests don't just bring in like a different perspective, they bring in their whole audience with them. It's like this built-in cross promotion, right?
Oh, I see what you mean.
Yeah, and the algorithms eat that up. Suddenly you're reaching a whole new set of eyes that might never have found you otherwise.
And that's huge,
Yeah.
especially in a world where everyone's like fighting for that little bit of attention, that little sliver of the internet.
Totally. Okay, so last big thing, and this one was really interesting to me. Pasted text wants to end each episode with predictions.
Predictions.
Yeah, predictions about like what the next big trends are going to be, which I mean, is that even possible, right? But the more I thought about it, the more I wondered like, why are we as humans, as a species even, so obsessed with trying to predict the future? Like, what is it about that unknown that just draws us in? It's a good question. I think it makes us feel a little bit more in control, maybe.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. Like, especially in this digital world that's constantly changing faster than we can keep up with?
Yeah.
Trying to get ahead of it, even if it's just an illusion, gives us some semblance of control, doesn't it?
I'd say, yeah.
And I think there's also that element, right, of just wanting to be in the know. Like, we want to feel like we're ahead of the curve.
So if I'm hearing you right, what we're seeing with pasted text isn't just a plan for a podcast. It's like almost like a little model of how this whole online culture thing works, right?
Absolutely. It's like a tiny little microcosm of how trends like bubble up, how they spread like wildfire, and how we as humans are constantly trying to make sense of it all.
Which actually brings me to a thought that I want to leave you with. So next time you're scrolling through TikTok, you know how it is, just totally absorbed in whatever the latest trend is. I want you to take a second. Ask yourself this. Are you the one shaping the trend?
Mm.
Or is the trend shaping you? Like, are you just passively consuming it? Or are you actively participating, adding to this larger cultural wave, you know? It's just a little something to ponder, something to think about the next time you open that app.
It is. I like it. It's a really good question. Food for thought.
Food for thought.